Oh my! And we're live. I thought I'd try something new today. So good morning to you all, even though there's no one watching at the moment, but that's fine. I'm sure it'll make some sort of random video on my channel soon. But yes, we're out in the woods today, just walking along the canal, and I just thought I'd do a little video. I don't know how well it's going to do. Like I say, we are relying massively on my live streaming capabilities of my phone. The potential of that, though, isn't going to be very good. So if it does drop out, if it is awful and terrible, I apologise. This is just really just a test to see what it's like. But who knows? Maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. Who knows? So what we're going to talk about on this little jaunt today. Well, today I've often talked about Boris. Boris, will he go? Will he go, and how long could Boris stay for? I think this is an interesting question. So, we know full well Boris got in, and he's determined, seems to be determined, to stay. And obviously, he has now been left with the Brexit baby. And if you remember, a couple of years ago, I said that Theresa May had been chosen as the leader of the party to essentially be the receiver. Oh, hang on. Let me negotiate this. Whoops, daisy. We go. Essentially being the leader, given the leader position, to be the one that takes the poison chalice. She was the one who everything was going to be blamed upon. This was the person that was going to take all the blame. The failures are all on Theresa May. Now, I wonder if we'll still see that. But because of Boris took charge of when he did, there's now a position to say it's not only Theresa May's fault, it's Boris's fault as well. So you get an interesting position here of, and especially if you throw the coronavirus, an absolute coronavirus catastrophe in the mix that Boris is currently going through. His poll numbers are absolutely dismal from what we've seen at the moment. He could, essentially, if the Conservatives feel is safe enough to push him through, there is a genuine suspicion that he will be completely pushed out by Christmas. That's if the Conservatives feel safe enough to give him that good old heave-ho. It's been reported that Boris isn't enjoying his time in Downing Street. So it may be that the Conservatives want to give him the good old heave-ho, and the feeling's mutual. Boris wants to go. He wants to go back to the benches where he can start crying his usual ballyhoo and usual stuff that he normally cries from the backbenches. So we'll see what happens with that. But Christmas, that's the date that a lot of us initial reporters have been looking at as the first possible date when Boris might go. Because they can then signal a complete new refresh for the party and brand. And the obvious replacement, as everyone has said, is that good old Rishi Sunak has bought a lot of goodwill from the public. He would be the new face of the party, and that we could just basically press the reset button. The past year and a half, all those disasters, they never happened. Those were Boris's fault. Remember good old Rishi? He's the one that saved us during the coronavirus. So that's definitely a possibility that could happen. So that's the Christmas, what's known as the Christmas theory. Could it come true? I'm not sure. I am a betting man sometimes. You could definitely put good odds on him going by then. Definitely. There is always a good chance that he could go by then. The next one, his next, shall we say, departure date. Oh, thank you. I've just seen that comment from Denmark. So again, like I said, I don't know how this live stream is going. This might not even be getting me at all. The reception out here could be absolutely awful. But like I said, it's just a test. But the next departure date is post-Christmas, and that could be potential halfway of next year. And really, the scenario for his departure doesn't change. Oh, good morning. So again, his scenario for his departure date doesn't change. Boris isn't having fun. He wants to go and feels that he was better on being on the backbenchers, being the bellower of the party. And that's his, shall we say, his natural position in life. And of course, again, if there's the will from the party to push him out, Boris won't want to be pushed out. Boris, I think, is the type of person who would rather go, I've done my job, and I'm leaving. I'm leaving now. I'm just gonna leave. You know, mission accomplished, job done. He's not the type of person to admit that he was pushed out. But again, like I say, if he has that mutual, oh, hi from New Zealand, hello from person from Finland as well. Do I think Boris Starmer will tear Boris a new one? Yeah, he constantly is. I don't know if you saw the exchange during Prime Minister's question times this week, but definitely, if you haven't seen it, go watch the highlights. Definitely, who's definitely the being lost upon old Boris there. Anyway, where were we? Yes, the second departure date is halfway through next year. So Boris wants to go. He feels like he's done all he can, but he knows because he's made a massive balls up of it all. So he knows he ain't gonna survive and would rather go before the knives come from him. And of course, again, as I think the number one candidate to replace him will be Rishi. Hello from Thailand. Definitely the guy to replace him will be Rishi. Rishi Sunak will be the guy to replace Boris. I do not think the Conservatives have anyone else in their fieldable team to who they could replace him, especially, as I've said, he's built up a lot of very good will from the public, from his coronavirus catastrophe, shall we say, the bailout package. So I think that's where we'll definitely see him come into his own and shine on that front. So again, nothing much changes from scenario 1 to 2 about how he will go, but it's just a bit later, shall we say, than normal. So what about the final one, scenario 3? Well, scenario 3 is a bit interesting. Will Cummings stay? No. Boris and Cummings, I think, are linked at the hip. I think if Boris goes, Cummings will go as well. But you have seen a lot of the ERG members and people from that side, the hardline Brexiteers, saying that Cummings must stay to get Brexit done. So if the scenarios play out of Brexit's a done deal, we all know that it's essentially been done. We're just ticking out the clock for let me change over. We're just ticking down the clock to essentially get it done as quickly as we can to get it done. Will I do more streams in the future? I don't know. Probably. This is, like I say, this is a test. See how well this goes. But I would like to do more streams. But anyway, yeah, back to Cummings. Sorry, I'm getting distracted when I see comments there. So I think Cummings goes. Cummings will definitely go if Boris goes. There's no way if Rishi, I want to keep on calling him Rishi, if Rishi does replace Boris, which I think is pretty much a good, certain, spot-on bet. I absolutely think it will be a good, spot-on bet for Boris to be replaced by Rishi. And Rishi doesn't like Boris. Rishi doesn't like Cummings. So absolutely, Cummings will go if Boris goes. There is no way he stays because there is too much public ill will. We know full well that there has been a lot of rumblings in the civil service that they don't like him. So there is a good chance he will go. Hello there. I saw you say hello. I didn't catch your name there, but hi. So definitely a chance he will go, and I think he will not stay. There is too much public ill will, and this goes on to our third scenario of where Boris leaves. So somehow miraculously, Boris manages to bounce back from all this. The recession doesn't damage him because the Conservatives think that they need a good frontman to be like the ooh-rah-rah cheerleader for the party. And that is important because there has to be the will to keep Boris around that long for him to stay. Now, if we are getting to this scenario that Boris does stay for this long, and we are talking almost end of his term as Prime Minister, and we're talking like right up to the next general election, I do not think the Conservatives will risk keeping Boris around. I think that at that point, Boris will be too much of a liability to be kept on. Oh, good morning from Bradford there. So I think that if that comes to pass, he's going to be far too much of a liability. Like the honestly, at that point, the opposition Labour will have so much ammo to fire back at Boris. He will just be a complete liability. And we have seen a number of times, especially recently, that Boris has completely missed the mood of the country, and not only just the country, but the House as well. And as a result, he's shown a massive drop in popularity. So this comes to be a really interesting position where, if he does manage to stay that long, potentially to the next election, the chances of the Conservatives risking that loss, especially for the fact that, as I've said, the Conservatives have an 80-seat majority. They can pretty much pass what they want at this point. And the danger, as I've said on multiple videos now, is you've got to watch out for what comes after January. I highly suspect that we will see a manifesto published. I highly suspect we will see a manifesto published as the future path and direction for the UK. I think that's what will happen. That's what will come to pass. Boris reminds me of a little young Frankenstein. Yeah, definitely. Although, as I've said, if Spitting Image ever comes back, he is the New Adventures of Blonde Man. But yeah, that's the interesting point of where Boris essentially goes. There isn't too much of a call whether or not. It's when does Boris, and to be honest, I think Boris has racked up so much political ill will. Yeah, they can also be blamed for anything. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so he can at that point. There's trust me, the coming chaos is all going to be on Boris's shoulders, and Boris is very much, I think he strikes me as a person who wants to be popular. He doesn't want to be the villain, and I think that's why you're getting so much information coming out of Downing Street that he's bored of his position as Prime Minister and wants to go. Or he's not having fun, but not wants to go. But I think that's what will be the impetus. If he sees a way to get out early, don't put it past Boris to leave, because he can just do what he can do, the whole mission accomplished thing, and just swan out and leave the mess to someone else. That's definitely a typical Boris tactic there. Will it happen? Who knows? Really don't know. So those are the three scenarios. Let's go over again quickly for any newcomers. So we've had scenario one, which we're calling the Christmas exit. Boris has been put down a lot through the coronavirus. There's probably been a second wave, which again, good money on there probably will be a second wave here in the UK. And he feels like he wants to go. He can't handle it. He's done the whole thing. He's done it. He's bored. He's done it. He's been the leader. Didn't like it. But, you know, ambition achieved. He's got his name on the Eton Boys board of former prime ministers. Yeah, that's it really. He's done it. So that's the Christmas exit. The next one is obviously the post year. We're calling the post year exit. So that will be at some point halfway through next year. Scenario pretty much remains the same. Boris is done. He's bored. He's tired. Conservatives feel that he's run out of steam and that he can't get them any further than they can now. So he just leaves. Whether that's through, again, his own volition or he's pushed, but ultimately, as I said at the beginning, he will leave before being pushed. He's not the type of guy. I think he'd find that too embarrassing for his standing and his stature. He doesn't want to be known as the guy who got pushed. He'd rather be known as the guy who jumped first before he went. So we're at the end of the path now. So hold on. Let's turn around and we'll go back the other way. So that's the interesting strategy that we're definitely going to see here. So who knows? Who really does know what the future holds for Boris? The third exit strategy is obviously what we're calling the pre-election one. Might he stay long enough for that? Who knows? Generally, who knows? He might do, who knows? But I very much doubt it. Boris has gelled up so much ill will among the people in the country at the moment. There's no way the Conservatives would allow him to stand as their guy for the next election. There's too much ammo, too much baggage, especially during this time. People have long memories and they don't forget. Not only that, you've had what we've said all along. British manufacturing have just come out recently. We're going to go over that soon. Of a no-deal Brexit is going to hurt the North. And where's the North? That's where they won most of their new seats, mostly for the first time. So if those seats are in danger, they'll jettison Boris. The big challenge, I keep on saying it's the big challenge to see if these are going to be is there actually going to be a permanent sea change in the in like the political capacity for the UK and in the North will be the local elections. If currently a lot of these Conservative MPs are sitting on top of very, very well-held Labour councils, and if there really has been this sea change, as many Conservatives are trying to push that there has been this massive sea change and away from Labour, then the local elections will be that test. And obviously they've been cancelled. Possibly the next year now, it looks like they'll definitely be held, but that will be another test. In fact, that could be the test that makes Boris jump before he's pushed. So that could definitely be interesting. Again, it's one of those things of where you're trying to make political predictions. You've got to try and look at potential future scenarios and what is happening at the moment to be able to make those predictions. And I think that I've backed up a lot of my predictions again with a lot of what's happening now, what those definite changes might be, and what they could be. I could be 100% wrong. Maybe Boris completely survives. Maybe he comes out of this completely unscathed. Who knows? But again, we'll have to see. I don't think he will. I think Boris has been spent. I think the steam engine completely run out of him throughout all this. I think Boris was hoping that he could just run the country as and when he could and was. Think he was hoping that he could run it as a like he did when he was mayor of London. Be there for the big ribbon cuttings and celebrate those. But then when it comes to the actual meat and potatoes of the work, then that's it. He doesn't want to do the work. Essentially, he just wants all the prestige and none of the faff that goes with it. So that's the political side of things, really. The big thing is Farage. Could Farage make a comeback? Now, I think this is interesting. We have seen at the moment this week a lot of Brexit Party candidates, or former candidates, as they are now, ditch the Brexit Party because they've put their stance that they want to get rid of the Synod, which is the devolved Welsh Assembly. And if they get rid of that, that could cause a lot of problems. It's actually quite popular, the Synod, in Wales. The interesting thing about that is, has Farage overreached? Farage, we know, wants to rebrand the Brexit Party as the Reform Party. Reform what, and what exactly is he going to get reform? We don't know. Well, again, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, as I've said before, this year was meant to be Farage's big comeback tour. Meant to be his big victory lap year. Brexit was done. He was going to go to America and join the join the speaker circuit and make an absolute bomb. But of course, no. Of course, the coronavirus has put pay to that. So if anything, that has actually been the one of the good things about the coronavirus. It's put paid to Farage's plans for doing his victory lap. Again, sometimes you've got to look for a silver lining in these type of things, no matter how small. An interesting scenario, interesting way of definitely looking at things. Might he make a comeback? Well, it all depends on what happens. We've seen that the Brexiteers have promised everyone a unicorn, and they can't deliver. They can't deliver. The promises of Brexit are never going to be able to be deliverable upon what they promised. Absolutely impossible. In fact, it's rather strange. This comes up. I had a friend at uni, and his uncle was a white van runner. Now, for those of you who may not be old enough, or certainly old enough to remember, the white van booze runs. And these booze runs used to take, well, it's as simple as, they used to pop over to France, grab as much cheese, booze as they could, pack the van full of it, and then risk customs not searching them, to come back over. So, interesting enough, my friend was telling me his uncle was looking back into doing that and getting the old band back together, as he described it. So that could be something definitely coming through. Return of the booze cruise, smugglings, as someone said there. Booze cruise, that's what it was called. Could definitely be very interesting. But again, who knows? In fact, for those of you who are interested in sort of where I am, I'm actually walking along an old canal. I don't know if you can see it. The sun's a bit in the way there, but that in the back there is the old canal bridge along this old, now filled in industrial canal. Just a bit of Barnsley history for that, old Barnsley industrial history. But yeah, it's now been turned. I don't know if you can see it in the back there, an old wetland. You can see the river there, and then up there there's some old fishing lakes now. In fact, that's been quite funny. As I've been doing these walks every day, there has been constantly fishermen fishing. The ultimate in social distancing activity. So that's me today. Thank you all for joining me on this little walk. As for live streaming in the future, I think I may do some more in the future. I don't know if I'll do it here. Like I said, I don't know how the signal's been well received, shall we say. Hopefully it's come through quite nice. Fingers crossed. Bollerman, check my previous message. I think the Russians are interested in this whole saga. In fact, I've been thinking about doing a video about why they would actually be interested in that saga. It would be very, very interesting. Again, that Russia report next week, I think that's going to be the big test. Definitely going to be the big test. If it comes out that there has been serious, serious tampering, not only in elections but in the referendum, as some leaks of this have initially suggested, there could be a lot of answers. But the thing about this report is it could lead to an investigation. And if it leads to an investigation, that's where things could get really interesting. So, first of all, thank you for everyone joining me this morning. Like I say, I will, I think, try and maybe do some more live streams in the future. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, like I say, thank you all for joining me. I'm one of these people I could talk for days. Talk for days. Maximilian Robespierre, he contacted me yesterday, and I'd be very interested in doing a live stream with him, actually. Just to, again, I don't know, probably just talk, talking, just talk and chat, really. Like I say, ultimately we both agree on a lot of things by the looks of it. But it would just definitely be us just having a good chat, and to be honest, and I think that's what sometimes you need, just a good chat. So yeah, as I keep on saying, my third time of trying to end the stream. Thank you all for joining me today. Keep safe. I know there are lots of people headed back to work. I hope that your workplace is providing you safety for you to return to work. I hope you're keeping safe at home. I hope that you are, doing well. You know, thank you everyone for for joining us today on this little walk. We might do more maybe in the future. I don't know. But yeah, as someone says there, keep safe and sane. So absolutely, thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you for supporting me on the channel as well. I said I'd never do it, but I've actually set up a Patreon. So you can donate to me £1 a month if you want. I've literally set it up as a £1, £2 or £3 a month, because I don't think I can justify charging more for my videos than that. But anyway, thank you for joining me. As I said, I'm terrible at trying to end this videos because I can talk for days if I want to on this type of stuff. So thank you for joining me. It has been fun. Like I say, I will try and I think do more live streams in the future. And thank you very much. If someone's looking for it, it is on my channel page, a little tiny link, and there are some links at the end of my videos and below some of the new ones as well. So thank you all for joining me today, and yeah, thank you. Now, how do you end the stream? Oh well, stop streaming, there we go.